the idea of starting again is to give people something excited to look forward to, while also helping out and making a difference. The stronger your partnerships, the better your reach is going to be.
All right, today is Tuesday, April 14th, and we are joined by Danny Wilcox, working with Appalachian Mountain Brewery's We Can So You Can Foundation, nonprofit arm of the group. Danny is a senior marketing activations and business development director with A&B, a longtime friend of many programs up here. Danny, it's good to see you. Unfortunately, we're not seeing you at your place where a lot of people are used to seeing you.
Yeah, we're making it work though.
So one of the things that we have noticed around the community, a lot more people are trying to figure out through either means to fundraise or just means to congregate in a way that is in the spirit of all of the Keep Boone Healthy messaging and all of the things that the health department and the state have put out. We have found many more virtual events out there. You all at A&B hosted a very successful virtual event that helped benefit Hunger and Health Coalition over the weekend. We'll talk about that in a second. But in that space, trying to figure out a way how to connect people virtually, how did you all come to the decision that virtual concerts were a way that you could pull off the social aspect of things and also give people a reason to rally behind something?
Yeah, actually, the inspiration came early on whenever this was starting to develop. We had is the weekend of Rail Jam, actually, whenever this kind of came on, and we had to cancel that event. And immediately, with my role with the company, for my directors, it was immediately to focus on ways that we can think outside the box during this time. And then from one of coworkers up in Boston, actually, that works with a brewery up there called Cisco. They're based out of Nantucket. And they were talking about in Boston, which is a much larger population than Boone, but they had a local musician that partnered up with Jack Daniels and raised like $8,000 in one day over a virtual concert. And been, they were really specific about their funds and where they were going to. And when I saw the success of that, at first I wasn't sure. I didn't know if it's something people would pay attention to, and it was early on. And then so I started doing some research and tried to make it less of a just a shooting from the hip kind of situation, but try to how professional can I bring a concert together and actually have a stage presence and make it look like something that someone, you think about your consumer and, what's something someone's going to actually want to see, sit down and actually watch, and how can you really make it impactful. And so coming from those ideas, I knew with our town, the size of Boone and the reach that we can have with the brewery and the foundation, I felt like this was definitely a good strategy for us to go forward on trying to make a difference right now. And, originally I tried to identify three main focus points, try to keep the whole thing aligned so it didn't get too scattered or too, across to the message was really clear. And the first one was realizing the need for something in Boone needs to happen to kind of rally and bring community together under one activity that, wasn't always just about news or anything like that. It was really just something that they could just relax and enjoy for a minute and try to make the best of, an evening. And, music is something that's powerful. We've used it over, for many years now, something that kind of brings people together during hard times. And so the first pillar, was focused on just bringing community together, through music, something to enjoy and kind of collaborate with. The second pillar was, the need of live music right now, the industry of musicians that go out and play every weekend. I'd say in the past, like these local musicians, we might've taken, for granted, really how fortunate we are to have such great musicians around this area. And we've come to just kind of, see them every weekend and expect to see them compared to, I can't tell you how many times I go to bars and restaurants, and I'm guilty of myself, just kind of sitting in the back and maybe not being as aware as, you could be with, these guys that are really pouring their hearts out on the stage, to try to, make a difference every weekend. And so the other thing was trying to recognize these musicians and try to give them a gig when there's no gigs to be had, and so that was the second part, having that clear, like reaching out that way and providing support that way. And then third was aligning under a clear philanthropic message. And that took some time to kind of develop, because at first my immediate gut reaction was just to, I had it obviously with the industry with A&B, like, we felt the concerns around the service industry people and what was going on with that. And, so we, immediately I just wanted to go and hand out, $20, $50 gift cards to grocery stores or whatever, to any staff, any bar, restaurant in town that maybe came undone. But, going into that, like, it's a little tricky right now, with the messaging. Some people can do that and be more direct, but as a business, you can get kind of a little gray area right now with how you hand out your donations and gifts. So you don't want to be taken advantage of, and you also don't want to lead people into a scenario that could be in question down the road. And, so, taking 2 steps back, I was like, really, what, to me, I thinking about in the past, all the different nonprofits we worked with. And one that really stood out to me at this moment was, the Hunger and Health Coalition. They really hit almost check every box right now for, people really have needs. That's where they're going to go to. And, so, aligning under one cause and one communication of philanthropic effort with the Hunger and Health Coalition has also helped with our direction of going this virtual route. So it's been, our communication's really clear. It's easy. Concerts, we're paying musicians, and we're benefiting Hunger and Health Coalition, and we're bringing people together under music. So
I think one of the things that was awesome about that, it brought some normalcy, and you were able to put the music on in the background, and that's kind of, you had that feel there for a moment. Like you mentioned, live music provides a setting that is a little bit different. You were able to capture that so well. Some people that are doing virtual events haven't kind of figured out the technical side of it yet. How did you guys come about a technical scenario that allowed you to basically bring the sound of bar live music into everybody's living room?
Yeah, there's a ton of platforms out there. I stuck with what I've used, the Facebook marketing, Facebook fundraising platform prior. They've really dialed that in and made it really simple as far as, raising money through that platform and notifying consumers. The issue is that you're not going to reach your entire market, but you are going to reach quite a bit. And so for us, going into the setup, I spent about 2 weeks developing before we actually launched. It wasn't just hey, we got this idea, someone turn the camera on and see what happens, because as soon as you do, like, your first initial, what people see the first time, is really are they going to watch it again? Are they going to look for the next one? How well are they going to pay attention? There's a lot to be said about that. And so for us, we did a trial run the week before, and we test ran that on our individual private accounts to test run first. And then, was able to get immediate feedback from, making it really clear, like, hey, this is a test run. We want to hear feedback. Is the sound quality good? Is the video quality good? And we learned a lot by doing that, because just because you turn your camera on these live feeds and it looks good on, like, your phone, for instance, like, you can't just turn on your camera app and expect that same image is what's going to show up on the live feed, because with the streaming part, it breaks it down. It's more pixelated. You're picking up on different things that you normally wouldn't. So you got to really test run it on actually running the live feed, and to see what actually comes into focus with your camera, because these the capabilities are much different. And then the other part was sound. There's and that came from a community effort too. So a good friend, Jeremy Barnes, he does a lot of audio recording and podcasts and things like that, like as like you do as well. And he recommended a microphone that we were able to pick up that runs through USB that we're able to connect into our iPad for viewing. So it really takes the sound quality. I mean, we had I gave Rustin Clausen from the Brewery. He's a bartender who also plays music. He's helped me with the music side of the live sound and everything during these shows. And of course, he books a full band with the drums and everything on our first kickoff. So, but I think overall, we still were able to bring that sound in by having that external microphone to pull it in. As a condenser microphone that really captures the entire room. And And then also the first night we learned about lighting and the importance of that. So we were able to enhance that before we went live on the full show. And so those were definitely some learnings that we had of, make sure you test run, take time to prepare, research what's best, and make sure you, don't be afraid to ask opinions, of how it is.
And the High Country Happy Hour was born from that kind of effort. Give us an update on how the first one went and what people can expect with week 2.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest with you, the test run, we tested the donation button, and just during the test run, about 15 minutes, we raised $400 right away. So there was definitely like people looking for it, expecting it, excited for it. And then our first night, we also had multiple different, we had about I was managing about 3 or 4 different iPads and accounts at the same time that were all kind of sending that in. And to be clear on that, the reason is with Facebook and Instagram or however platform you use, they have different algorithms and how they pick up. So a business page might show up differently on people's feeds compared to a personal page, compared to a band's page, compared to an Instagram page. And so that was also a test run there to we had all our individual pages feeding back to the A and B page, which is our main page. But the second night, like I said, we had all those going. And so we had fundraising going on all those platforms as well. And last I looked, we brought in close to $1,500 just from the donation feed. And then we put a match of $1,000 with the We Can So You Can. So close to $2,500 just from that first Friday night, plus the $400 from the test run. So we're getting close, we were right close to the $3,000 mark, which, I thought was incredible for a first run. And this Friday coming up, we're really excited. We have really a pretty legendary band for the High Country called the Harris Brothers. So if you've been around, to Music on the Lawn and Blowing Rock or so many different other locations, they're really the go-to see band. I feel like, or at least I've always viewed them that way of, people really go out of their way to see this band, in this attraction. And so these guys, to be able to showcase them on a live feed and be able to reach a market that I'm really excited to see what can happen. So we're hoping to get the word out that the Harris Brothers will be on a live performance this Friday.
So I know that with your success with just event planning in general, this probably seemed a little bit natural to you. Appalachian Mountain Brewery and We Can So You Can Foundation partnered with Beach Mountain to pull off another event, the Keep Boone Healthy marathon, if you will. Opportunity to run, bike, walk, whatever your outdoor exploit of choice is, to be able to, again, do a thing, in this case, not listening to music, but have some physical activity and turn that into a fundraising mechanism that will benefit a host of nonprofits. What led you down this road?
Yeah, this came from a collaboration. So, and we launched that on Friday as well. This kind of goes back to the same mindset of, how do you bring community together? And I'll touch on one key component that makes these things successful is keeping it simple. You don't want to overcomplicate anything at this time, or, your messaging needs to be clear and easy. But this came from good friend Talia Freeman, which a lot of people in here know her as well, from Beach Mountain. She does the marketing and media for them, as well as so many other things. And she's always been majorly involved in so many different aspects of her community too, always reaching out and wanting to help out with so many things. So her and Brandon McKeever, who Brandon's a bar manager here and bartender at Appalachian Mountain Brewery. He started his own individual support group on Facebook where people can Venmo him funds, and then people can reach out to him for individual needs, which kind of gives that more direct. It's such a great thing that goes back to that. Some businesses might have a hard time doing that, but individuals like himself willing to step up and, really kind of go after those immediate needs like that's a pretty awesome thing. But Brandon started that up, and I think it inspired Talia to kind of reach out and talk about this idea of a virtual marathon. And then in that process, I was kind of roped in. Talia and I, we do a lot of events and planning together, and I was able to kind of come in and continue to help develop the ideas. And we kind of came to the same message of, well, maybe this time instead of one nonprofit, let's choose, let's say 10, and keep it still not too many, but too large of a concept to where you couldn't communicate it very easily. The idea of starting again is to give people something excited to look forward to, while also helping out and making a difference. And so the nonprofits we chose were based around nonprofits in their area that we felt like were having a direct impact around the COVID-19 situation. And so if you go to the We Can So You Can Facebook page, there's an event. It's also in part with Keep Boone Healthy, which we're on here right now. And
we can see that event right here.
Yeah. And it's real simple. You go on, you select an amount that you would like to donate towards the nonprofit in the list that you choose. You make the donation of anywhere from $1 to $500, however, whatever you're feeling like giving. And then it'll give you a PDF to print off of your race number, your bib number, with a cool logo of Keep Boone Healthy. And we're going to do a virtual marathon. And the marathon, not to scare anyone away, it's basically anything to get you off the couch. If it's walking outside, is it on your row machine, your treadmill, is it walking to get your mail, whatever, whatever you choose to do to get out and be active in a very safe, following the guidelines is the plan. And so we just hope that collectively we all come together and share pictures and images. We're going to give out some fun prizes of some clever photos, so time to get creative with your family or your pets, whoever, or whatever you want to do. And use this as a time to kind of just come together again.
I like, you heard it here. Danny Wilcox and Talia Freeman have figured out a way to turn down and backs to your mailbox into a philanthropic effort. I love it. Yeah. Danny, final thing for you, and I think you touched on this just a moment ago. If you could give some advice to folks that are maybe starting to get down this road for whatever it might be. It could be fundraising for a group, it could be fundraising for one of the many groups here nonprofit wise that have had events postponed or canceled or altered. You said keep it simple a moment ago. Is there anything else that you would tell an event organizer that's maybe trying to think of a way to virtually create something that again came from a thing or a routine or an event that maybe we've known and appreciated in a certain way for so long?
Yeah, I think, like I said, number one is a clear, simple message. And then number two, which is probably even more important, is partnerships. So, you really want to make an impact, focus on who you're bringing in, partnerships that, because the more, the stronger your partnerships, the better your reach is going to be. So.
Well, fantastic advice. You guys do great work, and certainly enjoy the concert Friday night. We'll look forward to the Harris Brothers, the High Country House Band, if you will, and then we'll get in shape for the marathon too. Thanks for sharing your wisdom with us, and best of luck to you all as we continue to fight this fight.
Yeah, cheers.
All right.